In this recording, I intend to explain the concept of elastic demand, and I plan to cover both perfectly elastic as well as relatively elastic demand. So first of all, obviously I will explain what the concept of perfect elasticity and relative elasticity means, but for now just have a look at this diagram and keep this in mind while I'm explaining the concept in the later part of this video. And I would insist that you should definitely revisit these few pictures that I'm sharing at the outset in order to have a better understanding of the concept. Okay, so the very first point that we need to understand is what exactly do we mean by demand being elastic? Well, I've already told you that the concept of elasticity is all about seeing how much the consumers are going to react to a given change in price. So if consumers react too much, that is, if they react too sharply to a given change in price, then obviously we're going to say that the demand for that particular product is elastic. Okay, so elasticity is simply a measure of the degree of reaction, right? The severity of the reaction of the consumer. So the stronger the reaction is, the more elastic the demand is going to be. Right, so in this video, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to walk you through 3 different examples, and the idea is that hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to be clear about the concept of relatively elastic as well as perfectly elastic demand. Now, I'm aware of the fact that at the moment the content on the screen is obviously not visible, so let's just zoom into the first example. Okay, now before you notice anything else, just focus on the 2 circles that I've made with a colored pen. So I intended to make that stand out. I want you to notice the fact that price is falling down and the quantity demanded is increasing. And more importantly, please take note of the fact that the P is quite small as compared to the Q. So the arrows along with the P and the Q, as you can see, the sizes are not the same. So the arrow, the downward facing arrow with the P is quite small as compared to the upward facing arrow with the symbol Q. So here, without even looking at the numbers, you can tell at a glance that the quantity is going to increase as a result of a decrease in price, and not just that, but also the fact that the quantity is going to increase much more than the relative decrease in price. Okay, so now I know that for some of you this particular statement might not have made a lot of sense. So now let's look at the numbers, and hopefully then you will be able to see what exactly I meant to say when I said what I just said. Okay, so here we have the original price, which is P1 is equal to 50, and then P2, the new price, which is 40, right? So the price is decreasing. And as far as the quantity is concerned, we can see that Q1, that is the original quantity demanded, is 30, while the new quantity, that is Q2, is 75. So as you can see that as a result of the decrease in price, the quantity demanded is increasing. Okay, so I know you must be thinking, well, there's nothing new in that, right? We all know that whenever price decreases, the quantity increases, huh? So there's nothing new in that. But if you notice and look closely, you will see that there is something very interesting in this particular example. So when we calculate the percentage change in quantity, which is obviously Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 into 100, that is 150%, while when you calculate the percentage change in price, that is P2 minus P1 over P1 into 100, that ends up as minus 20%. So just in case you're not sure about how I got these answers, you can try this for yourself. Okay, so presuming that we're all clear about the fact that the percentage change in quantity is 150 while the percentage change in price is 20, now you should be able to see that while on the one hand the price has just decreased by 20%, but the quantity demanded has increased straight away by 150%. So we know that there has been a change, price has changed, and as a result of that, quantity has changed. But the changes are not proportionate. So price has changed just a little, but in response to that price change, the quantity has gone up by more than the corresponding decrease in the price. Okay, so now notice that towards the top right side, I have stated in the numerator that Q is increasing, which is denoted by the upward facing arrow, but notice that this arrow is much larger as compared to the downward facing arrow in the denominator, which is accompanied by the letter P. And of course, this is just a short form of representing the same thing that I just said, that is, that the quantity is increasing much more as compared to the decrease in the prices. Now, always remember that this kind of a situation is always going to get you an answer that is greater than 1. And of course, we also have to keep in mind that we have to ignore all negative signs, right? So now notice at the bottom of the screen, we get the PED as minus 7.5, but as I've stated here, we ignore the negative signs. So note that minus 7.5 is going to be taken as an absolute value, that is just 7.5, ignoring the negative sign, and therefore 7.5 is obviously greater than 1. And in passing, just note one more point, that is, the answer does not have any percentage sign, so you just say that the PED is 7.5, or of course you can say minus 7.5, and we all know that we just ignore the negative sign. So basically, just remember that PED does not carry the percentage sign, so just drop that sign when you're writing the answer for PED. Okay, so in this particular example, the PED, that is the price elasticity of demand, has turned out to be 7.5, right? Now, in the next few examples, I'm going to make sure that you end up seeing for yourself that whenever we're dealing with a product that has elastic demand, then the answer for the PED is always going to be greater than 1. And I don't want you to believe me when I'm saying it. I want you to try it out for yourself so that it's easier for you to remember the concept. Okay, so before we deal with the next two examples, I just want you to take note of one simple fact, that there is a reason, a very simple logic behind this. That is, when we say that the PED is always going to be greater than 1 for a product that has elastic demand, basically we're just saying that consumers are very responsive, extremely responsive to changes in price. So what happens is that for a given percentage change in price, the corresponding percentage change in the quantity demanded is always going to be much bigger, since consumers are very reactive, that is, they're very responsive to price changes. Okay, so just in case you're not able to understand what I'm trying to say here, let me give you an example, and you can apply this example in the example number 2 that you can see on the screen right here. Okay, so let's take the example of paper clips. So paper clips are the kinds of products for which consumers are obviously going to be really responsive to changes in price. So you can imagine that even the tiniest change is going to lead to a massive change in the quantity demanded. Now imagine that you're purchasing paper clips online, let's say at Amazon or maybe on the Daraz app. So let's say that various sellers have posted for selling paper clips at $0.1 or maybe let's say at 1 rupees. So if let's say that I am also a seller and I decide to raise my price just a little bit, let's say just from 1 rupees to 2 rupees, right? And let's say from $0.1 to $0.2. So the increment in the price, as you can see, is very tiny. Now, even if you have never studied any economics before and you have no idea about the types of markets, or nothing about perfectly competitive markets or what it means to be a price taker, so let's say you have no idea about any of these pieces of information, but if you think logically, you should be able to see that if I am going to raise the prices for paper clips and all of the other sellers in the meanwhile are still selling at the original, that is the same price of 1 rupees. So in this situation, obviously, if you're purchasing paper clips, then you're simply not going to buy anything from me, right? So maybe initially, before I raised the prices from let's say 1 to 2 rupees, in this situation, let's say I had 1000 buyers, okay? But all of a sudden, I noticed that as soon as I have raised my prices from 1 rupee to 2 rupees, in this situation, I realized that I have ended up with 0 buyers. So nobody wants to buy any paper clips from me at all, even though I have raised the prices just by 1 rupees. So this is something very foreseeable, right? At increased prices, no one wants to buy any paper clips from me at all. Now notice the fact that the increment in price is just 1 rupee, while the decrease in the quantity demanded is 1000. So this is a very good example of seeing how consumers can react so sharply to even small changes in prices. Now let's look at example number 2, and I'm going to leave you to do the math for yourself this time. So let's say that P1 is equal to 99 and P2 is equal to 100, right? So the price has increased just by 1 rupees. So the quantity, on the other hand, as you can see, all of a sudden has decreased all the way from 100 to just 1. So Q1 is equal to 100 and Q2 is equal to 1. Now as you can see, the PED turns out to be 99. And of course it's going to be minus 99, but like I've said earlier, we ignore the negative signs. So the PED is 99, which is obviously greater than 1, right? And the important point to notice in example number 2 is that the percentage change in quantity demanded is 99%, while the percentage change in prices is just 1%. And what this essentially means is simply that the seller has decided to raise prices by just 1%, but consumers have reacted so sharply that they have reduced the quantity demanded all the way by 99%. So the prices have increased by 1%, but the quantity demanded has decreased by 99%. And when you look at example 3, you can see that it's basically the same as example number 2. The only difference is, in this situation, the quantity has decreased all the way to 0. So this time you can see that nobody wants to buy any paper clips from me at all when I increase the price from 99 to 100. Now pause the video and think for a moment, what happens if we change example number 3 slightly. So let's say that instead of Q1 is equal to 100, we had Q1 is equal to 1000. Then in that situation, the PED is obviously going to be 1000. And once again, if let's suppose that P1 is equal to 99, P2 is equal to 100, but this time Q1 is equal to 10,000 while Q2 is equal to 0. And basically what this simply means is that price is increasing by just 1 rupee or by just $1, and the quantity demanded is decreasing all the way from 10,000 to 0. So once again, if you don't believe me, then you can calculate for yourself and see that the PED in this case is going to be 10,000. And there is a reason I'm sharing different versions of example number 3. So the point that I need you to notice is that the PED for products that have elastic demand can potentially go towards infinity. Now at this point, I would request you to just have a very quick look once again at the first few minutes of this video where I had shared certain images, and over there as you can see that I have stated that the range of PED for products that have elastic demand between 1 and infinity. So we've already seen that whenever we're dealing with a product that has elastic demand, then the PED, that is the price elasticity of demand, is always going to be greater than 1, right? So it is always going to be greater than 1. So I repeat what I had stated earlier, that for a given percentage change in price, the corresponding percentage change in quantity demanded will be bigger, since consumers are always reactive to price changes in the case of products that have elastic demand. Okay, so that's it about elastic demand, and in the next video I'm going to discuss the concept of inelastic demand.